Welcome, dear listeners, to another chilling episode of Wicked Whispers, where the shadows come alive and nightmares whisper their secrets.
Deep within the heart of a forgotten forest lies an ancient temple, shrouded in mystery and legend. For centuries, this sacred site has been a place of worship, reverence, and fear. Its crumbling walls and moss-covered stones bear silent witness to countless rituals and prayers, but also to a dark, haunted past that refuses to be forgotten. Tonight, we embark on a journey into the unknown, exploring the chilling tale of the haunting of the ancient temple. Prepare yourself for a story filled with ghostly apparitions, ancient curses, and the eerie whisper of the supernatural. This is not for the faint of heart. Only the brave will uncover the secrets that lie within. The temple, known as the Temple of Arjuna, was built over 1,000 years ago by a powerful king named Raja Vashisht. Raja Vashisht was a devout follower of the god Shiva and sought to create a sanctuary where his people could worship and find solace. The temple was constructed using the finest materials and was adorned with intricate carvings and statues depicting scenes from Hindu mythology. It quickly became a center of spiritual activity, drawing pilgrims from far and wide. For centuries, the Temple of Arjuna flourished. Priests performed daily rituals, and the temple grounds were alive with the sounds of chanting and the scent of incense. The temple was a place of peace and tranquility, where people came to seek blessings and commune with the divine. The temple's prosperity came to an abrupt end when a new high priest, Mahadev, took over the spiritual leadership. Mahadev was a man of immense power and knowledge, but he was also ambitious and ruthless. He sought to increase his influence and control over the temple, even if it meant resorting to dark practices. One fateful night, Mahadev conducted a forbidden ritual in the temple's inner sanctum, seeking to summon a powerful spirit to aid him in his quest for power. The ritual went horribly wrong, and instead of a benevolent spirit, Mahadev unleashed a malevolent entity that had been trapped within the temple for centuries. The entity, furious at being disturbed, cursed Mahadev and the temple. From that moment on, the temple was plagued by misfortune and death. Mahadev himself was the first victim of the curse. He was found dead in the inner sanctum, his face twisted in terror. The priests who discovered his body reported seeing shadowy figures and hearing whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The temple quickly gained a reputation for being haunted, and the once thriving site became a place of fear and dread. As the years passed, the curse of the temple grew stronger. Priests and devotees who entered the temple reported seeing ghostly apparitions and experiencing strange, unexplainable phenomena. Objects would move on their own, and the air would grow cold and oppressive. Many people claimed to hear the distant sound of chanting and the faint echo of footsteps in the empty corridors. The final straw came when a group of pilgrims disappeared without a trace after visiting the temple. The local villagers, terrified of the curse, abandoned the temple and declared it a forbidden place. The jungle quickly reclaimed the temple, and it was left to decay, its once beautiful walls now covered in moss and vines. In the early 20th century, a group of British archaeologists led by Dr. Edward Thompson stumbled upon the Temple of Arjuna while exploring the region. Intrigued by the legends surrounding the temple, they decided to investigate further. Despite warnings from the local villagers, the team set up camp near the temple and began their exploration. From the very beginning, the team experienced strange occurrences. Equipment would malfunction, and several members reported feeling an unseen presence watching them. One night, Dr. Thompson awoke to find a shadowy figure standing at the edge of his tent. The figure vanished as soon as he shone his flashlight on it, but the incident left him deeply unnerved. As the days went on, the team's discoveries became more disturbing. They found ancient carvings depicting the forbidden ritual that Mahadev had performed, along with warnings about the curse. Dr. Thompson, determined to uncover the truth, decided to conduct a detailed survey of the inner sanctum. Entering the inner sanctum, Dr. Thompson and his team felt an immediate sense of dread. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, and the temperature dropped sharply. As they examined the carvings and statues, they began to hear faint whispers and the distant sound of chanting. One of the team members, a young archaeologist named Sarah, suddenly screamed and pointed towards a dark corner of the room. There, partially obscured by shadows, was the ghostly figure of a man with hollow eyes and a twisted expression of anger and sorrow. The figure moved towards them, and the team fled in terror. That night, they decided to leave the temple and return to their base camp. However, the haunting continued to plague them. Several members reported having nightmares and seeing ghostly apparitions. Dr. Thompson himself was tormented by visions of the high priest Mahadev, who seemed to be trying to communicate something important. Desperate for answers, Dr. Thompson reached out to a local shaman named Kiran, who was well versed in the region's spiritual traditions. Kiran agreed to visit the temple and perform a cleansing ritual to appease the spirits. Kiran arrived at the temple with a group of assistants and a collection of sacred herbs, oils, and artifacts. As night fell, they began the ritual, chanting prayers and lighting incense to purify the space. The air grew heavy with a sense of anticipation, and the team watched nervously as Kiran moved through the temple, invoking the blessings of the gods. As the ritual progressed, the oppressive atmosphere began to lift, and the temperature returned to normal. Kiran reached the inner sanctum and placed a series of protective symbols around the room. Suddenly, the ghostly figure of Mahadev appeared once more, but this time, he seemed calmer, as if the ritual had reached him. Kiran communicated with the spirit, asking for forgiveness and offering prayers for his release. The figure of Mahadev began to fade, and a sense of peace settled over the temple. The team breathed a collective sigh of relief, believing that the curse had been lifted. Following the ritual, the paranormal activity at the temple decreased significantly. Dr. Thompson and his team continued their exploration, uncovering more about the temple's history and the tragic events that had led to its haunting. They documented their findings and shared them with the archaeological community, bringing attention to the temple's significance. The Temple of Arjuna was eventually restored and reopened to the public, becoming a site of historical and cultural interest. Visitors were fascinated by the stories of the haunting, and many came to experience the temple's mysterious atmosphere for themselves. Despite the shaman's ritual, some believe that the spirits of the temple still linger. Visitors occasionally report feeling a chill or hearing faint whispers, but these experiences are far less frequent and intense than before. The temple remains a place of wonder and intrigue, a testament to the enduring power of history and the supernatural. Years later, the temple's haunting began to resurface. Reports of ghostly apparitions and strange phenomena started to emerge once again. Visitors claimed to see shadowy figures moving through the temple at night, and the sound of distant chanting could be heard in the inner sanctum. Intrigued by these new reports, a team of paranormal investigators led by Marcus Reed decided to conduct a thorough investigation of the temple. Equipped with modern technology, including thermal cameras, EMF detectors, and EVP recorders, they hoped to capture evidence of the supernatural activity. During their investigation, the team experienced a series of chilling encounters. In the temple's main hall, their thermal cameras captured the image of a cold, human-shaped figure standing near an ancient statue. The figure remained motionless for several minutes before disappearing. In the inner sanctum, they recorded several EVPs, with one particularly clear voice saying, "Release us." Determined to put an end to the haunting once and for all, Marcus and his team enlisted the help of a renowned spiritual medium named Isabella. Isabella was known for her ability to communicate with spirits and perform powerful cleansing rituals. She agreed to travel to the temple and assist with the investigation. Upon arriving at the temple, Isabella immediately sensed the presence of restless spirits. She conducted a series of seances, during which she communicated with the spirits of Mahadev and the malevolent entity he had summoned. Through these seances, Isabella learned that the entity had been trapped within the temple for centuries and sought release. Isabella performed a final cleansing ritual, invoking the blessings of the gods and offering prayers for the release of the trapped spirits. As the ritual reached its climax, the temperature in the temple dropped dramatically, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The ghostly figures of Mahadev and the entity appeared one last time before dissolving into the ether. The Temple of Arjuna, once a place of fear and dread, has been transformed into a site of historical and spiritual significance. While some visitors still report experiencing strange phenomena, the haunting is no longer as intense as it once was. The temple stands as a reminder of the enduring power of history, faith, and the supernatural. As you leave the ancient temple and the sun sets behind the crumbling walls, you can't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. The ghosts of the past may still linger, but they are now at peace, their stories forever etched into the stone and the hearts of those who visit. The Temple of Arjuna remains a testament to the mysteries of the human soul and the thin veil that separates our world from the unknown.